And I think we've had this conversation before. You got to know the kind of businesses that you invest in. If you're going to invest in Nigeria, you must invest in something that you can easily pack your things and get out.
Yes. You must, yeah, yeah, and that's where the concept comes in. And I'm telling you, that's where the concept comes in. The exit strategy thing.
Mhm.
When you are going to Nigeria, you must be ready. If I think I'm going to do a particular episode where I'm going to discuss about what kind of business you should invest in Nigeria, because it's
Yeah.
very, very important. When it comes to sales business, especially when you're selling, maybe you have like a lounge or an hotel, man, and you're abroad. Oh my God. May God rest your soul, because the truth is they're gonna steal you. It's just gonna run down. You can't. There's no sustainability of that market. But when we're talking about service-based business, that you are like, there's no way the things goes without you being involved. I'm not saying regular service business, but I have my own reservations on some particular businesses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Nigerian Abroad Show. It's a beautiful day today, and from the last episode, I told you guys I'm going to be bringing in somebody very interesting, where we're going to be discussing, the topic about, investing home and abroad. We're going to be talking about different investment ideas and strategies we can actually use as Nigerians abroad, because the show is all about Nigerians and also Africans too. So, if you're an African and you're listening to this, you're watching this video, just understand that this show is all about you. All right. So our well-being, we need to build up the community and have a growing community whereby we'll work together as one and be able to achieve the goal, maybe American dream, Canadian dream, wherever you are, you can achieve your dream abroad for your own betterment and the betterment of our race. So now today, I have a very brilliant person on the show. It took me a long time to be able to bring him on the show. He's been a very busy person, and I want to say thank you for coming on the show. He just finished from his own show today, and his name is Adewale Omitira. He's the CEO of a consulting firm, Search Plus Consulting. He is a great person. He's a speaker. He's a strategist. I always call him innovator. He calls me strategist. I'm like, okay, innovator. Because the thing is, it comes with innovations, which is great. So if you are looking for innovations, he's the right person, the right contact, especially when you are abroad, or you're really thinking about, okay, how best can I even use my life? Okay, now I've been working for years, been working for 10 years, so I have some finances I really want to invest in. I want to come up with the business ideas and all that. He's the right person you can always reach out to. So, which is, and that's the reason why we bring him on this show, so we can actually have discussion. It's going to be a discussion, trust me. It's not going to be like your regular boring interview. So, it's just going to be doing a lot of talks and all that. So, I want to first throw a question straight to Mr. Adewale. When we think about investment, how should individuals balance capital allocation between businesses? Maybe they already have businesses in Nigeria already. So how do they allocate their capital between setting up a business in Nigeria and also setting up a business in diaspora? Maybe they're in Canada, Japan, or wherever it is. How do you think they can balance the allocation?
Appreciate you for your time. Appreciate you and celebrate you for what you stand for. It's an honor and it's a privilege to be here today.
You're
How
welcome,
do we?
always.
That's a brilliant question, because a lot of times you find out that a lot of people have businesses back home. For whatever reason, they think they should migrate to Canada and all that. But one of the first thing that we must understand that you're investing in two different countries, two different environments, two different policies, two different people. I mean, two different caliber of people. When you are dealing with, if you are in Africa and you're doing business, there's a mentality how you do business And when you're in Canada, which I am in, there's a mentality you must have to do business. So give you an example. We wanted to register a business here, an arm of a real estate company that I'm partnering with. And one of the conversations that we had was that in Africa, in Nigeria, I mean, if you know the who and who and you have the money, there's a lot of stuff you can get away with. But coming to Canada, you have to do everything by the books. You have to do everything by the books, and it's very important. And this comes from a place of accountability. If to allocate resources, it's a very dicey question, and the reason why is because of the rate of dollar. So now let me ask the question: are you saying bringing money from Africa to Canada or America to invest or start a business? Is that the question?
So what I'm trying to say is,
Mm.
most people, in this in diaspora, some of them
Hmm.
already have businesses that
Yeah.
they're operating in Nigeria.
Hmm.
Some of them, not all of them. All right. So, and the capital, to run businesses in Nigeria might, let's just say, if you convert $500,000, all right, to naira, that's over 500 million naira, right? So let's just imagine that they have 500 million naira,
Hmm.
right? So now they want to do business in America or Canada, which is $500,000, which might not really be as much as they want. So
Hmm.
how do they balance that capital? Because they have 500 million naira worth of, capital, right? And in America, that
Hmm.
500 million
It's
is
500,000.
$500,000. So how do they balance, the capital? Balancing the business they have in Nigeria and balancing the business they have in diaspora with the same capital.
With the same capital. So thank you so much. So for me, it is very important to do the visibility studies first of all. I mean, whatever business you're going into, you must do the visibility studies. What is the problem you want to solve? At times, you might not need that much to start the business if you do your visibility studies properly. And at times, you might need more, and it depends on the problem that you want to solve. So the first thing I tell people is if you want to balance such resources, revenue, I mean, coming to Canada to start such businesses, if either you're trying to replicate what you have in Nigeria or what you have here, it's always good to do your visibility studies, and it's always good to know what your niche is so that you're able to narrow it down. Because at the end of the day, if you're coming into a land where you know nothing about, or I mean, you don't have an experience, it is most likely that you will squander the money on irrelevant things. So it is very important, like I said in the beginning of this conversation, what works in Nigeria might not work here. So your 500 million might not be enough to even set up a standard business down here. So the first thing is make sure you do your visibility studies. What is the problem you want to solve? What are the things that are needed? Sometimes you don't have to go get an office space to start a business. Sometimes you can start from your house. Uh, Other like I said, rather than what you have in Nigeria, that you must have an office space because of security. In here, you can start a business from the confine of your home, which would, I mean, cut cost. And then you must also understand the needs of the society. Take, for instance, I'm in Ontario. The way business registration is done in Ontario is different from other provinces. So those are key things that you have to know. And again, coming into a new environment, you don't want to spend so much, because if you're not working and what you're coming to do is start business, you have to also remember that you got to survive. You got to pay your bills. So it is very important that you leverage what you have in the system by, number one, what is the value that you're providing? What is the cost of this value? Are there things that I can handle by myself that I wouldn't have I mean, resource these things out? Number two, if they are not, if there are things that I have to, I mean, I have to, resources that I have to, like vendors I have to consult, which are the best ones for me and that would not, I mean, the back or break the bank for me. because at the end of the day, you'll find out that even 500,000, I mean, it sounds a lot. It sounds a lot. Hey, by the time you begin to, there's tendency to funds allocation. I mean, there's tendency to allocate funds to things that are not important. And at the end of the day, you have spent this allocation and you come back and say, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I should have. So visibility studies is important. What you can handle yourself is very important to handle. In Nigeria, there's something called cheap labor. In Canada, in the US, there's nothing called
Of
cheap
course.
labor. Everything is by the hour.
Yeah. So you know what? What you are right about that. But from what I'm actually taking a look at is
Yeah,
okay. If you have $500,000, for example, all right, a lot of Nigerians, or not all, I don't want to generalize.
yeah.
We believe in roughing it. We rough it and we lose that money. So don't you think it's easier for them to bring the $500,000? They should take a portion of it, all right, and say, okay, I want to use a consultant
Mm-hmm.
that understand the system, like
Mm-hmm.
Adewale Mitiro, and say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm apportioning 100,000 of this particular money to let him do all the runnings for me, because he
Mm-hmm.
does this every other day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I feel it is very, very important for them,
Mm-hmm.
just instead of them, it's not everybody that can write, that can do a feasibility studies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just commit everything to a particular consultant to do
Uh-huh.
everything for you, to tell you that, see, this market, I, as a consultant, even in the United States, here in New York, there's a brand that different brand I've worked with. There are some brands in Spanish brand in Spain, even some European brand. They reach out to us and say, okay, we want to tap into the American market. How do we go into? They pay us, we do a marketing research report for them. It's not $10,000, it's not
Mm-hmm.
$20,000. A research report on them, and we tell them, see, this is what the market can give you, depending on your demography.
Mm-hmm.
All right? They budget that amount for us. Than they're just entering the market, they don't understand the market, and they get there and get their hand burned, and they lose the money at the end of the day. Because the truth is, you can even lose $1 million in business, and that's the honest truth. Don't let anybody lie to you. You can have $1 million and lose it. So that's where the concept of consultancy is very important, and that's why we have somebody like you. And also me too, I'm a consultant here right in the United States. So if somebody want to do business in Canada, instead of just doing this one chop, this one no chop.
But that is for. I mean, since this is an African show, that is for someone that is coming from an environment whereby everything is being done normal and by the book. You see, one of the problems we have in Africa, or the way we have been wired and culture, is the survival mode, right? And this survival mode has brought us to a point whereby we always have this and carry this mentality that we really don't need anybody and we can figure it out ourselves because we're in the survival mode. So, and that's one of the problems we face, I mean, in this part of the world as diasporans. Somebody would have an information and would not let the other person know because you want to lord over the person or you want the person to look at you as some god or look. We always want to try to be better than each other. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a good idea that you get a consultant who's been on ground, who has the track record to help you do your visibility studies. But the question becomes, okay, take for instance, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, take for instance now, as small as a grocery store, we have people who open grocery stores here in Canada and Ontario. The question becomes, how many of them get a consultant and say, look, what would it take for me to open a grocery store? A lot of times people do things because somebody else is doing it. And a lot of times people, I mean, burn their fingers, get their fingers burned because they don't know how to do it. They don't know what it entails, what it takes. My wife runs a printing store. You can imagine the amount she spent on classes, on mentors before she could, start this printing store. But sometimes, a lot of times, because of our mindset as Africans, we believe, yes, we're doing well in the world. If you check the world, majority of the, in America, the most schooled the most learned, they're Nigerians and all that. But the question becomes, what are the percentage of that? So yes, it would be nice to get a consultant who, is on ground, knows the system. But the question is, how many Nigerians want to do that? Because we always carry this mentality of somebody's trying to fast track you and all that. And again, they get to a point whereby they burn their fingers, they lose money and all that. And it all comes from a place of proper planning, proper perspective, proper planning. Because if you have $500,000 and you say, you know what, I want to start a manufacturing plant here in Canada, and what would it entail for me to start a manufacturing plant? You don't have an idea of what it entails. So it is better you go to somebody who has the idea, who can do the running, while you focus on other things. So it's a brilliant idea, but like I said, how many? What's the percentage of we Africans that want to do that?
Yeah, but you're right. You're right. And that's the purpose of this show. All right? Because the truth is, I've been in different industry, I've dealt with different nationality. Even the Indians and all that, they understand this concept of, they understand the concept of investing in your business, not necessarily investing in just manpower, because you need the mental power to be able to run the manpower. There are some people who can carry every other thing, but there are some people they can't carry a table, but they can actually give you an idea on how to carry the table easily. All right. So, and that's the concept. We need to push this thing, especially in the capital, like Lagos. We should have a lot of consulting firm that focus on making business easy. The last time I was in Lagos, Nigeria, I can tell you there are a lot of people still doing things like for a state, for Lagos State that has like the economic power for the whole of Africa, and we still see a state like that still, they're still, struggling and all that. It went beyond me. So when it comes to struggling, I'm not saying businesses are struggling. I'm saying even the CEOs of businesses don't even understand the concept of business. You understand? Which is weird. Some understand it. And the truth is, if you look at the Nigerian market itself, there are a lot of businesses that, if the founder dies, the business dies. We don't understand the concept of building a business, giving it a strong management culture, whereby even if the owner dies, they can still sell the business, another person will manage it. That's why even in abroad, you see some businesses, they've been there since 1844. You be like, 1844? And it's not even family-owned business. It's somebody that sold it to another person. Look at Maserati. Look at Bugatti. These are cars that there was a founder, and the founder sold it at some point, and other people are carrying the brand forever. And that's how we want to grow. We want to grow to that thing whereby if the founder of Gucci dies today, Gucci is not going to die. All right? If the founder of Louis Vuitton, yes, if you look at it, and that's where we need to build businesses to, whereby we'll be importing our business. We won't be importing grocery store. All right? Japan is importing cars. Why won't their economy be strong? They're importing cars to Europe, America, Asia, Africa. Korea is I think they're the owner of Hyundai, right?
Yeah,
they're importing Hyundai. China too is doing the same thing. India too, they have Tata. They have quite a number of things. They even have their tech support. They have quite a number of things. So what exactly are we doing? But we are not here to talk about that today. We are talking about how we can actually grow in the diaspora as Africans. And that's why we have an expert here. So I would want you also to do one major thing for me, because it's a discussion. It's not just an interview. So I wanted to ask you, can you just walk me through, or walk the listeners or the viewers through the first step they can take, as Nigerian? Let's just use Canada, because you are based in Canada. Let's use Canada as a point of contact. What are some first steps they can take when considering starting a business abroad?
Number one, the first thing you must consider is that you want to come in, because you're coming from Africa. The first everything is that you want to unlearn and relearn. You have to be able to unlearn what you know in Africa. Like I said earlier on, it's two different environments, two different climates, and you must be ready to unlearn and relearn. Then the second thing is you must understand what kind of value you want to bring to the system, because there are people, whether you like it or not, there are people who dominate in this area, and you want to understand who you're bumping heads with. I'm not competing with them, so you want to understand. So that means you do a general survey. You do a general survey, and that brings you to a point where, okay, you know what? I think there's a food problem in this particular region where Nigerians are. Okay, take for instance, I live in a particular area, and we don't have a lot of Nigerians in this area. So the first thing that should come to your head is, if a Nigerian moves to this part of Ontario, he needs to drive about an hour, 30 minutes to the closest African grocery store. Okay, so can I bring that value to the system? Can I bring that value to my environment? So if you can, then you go ahead and you definitely register your business. You have to register a business. And once you register a business, what happens is you begin to find a community. One of the things I tell people also is that a lot of Nigerians live in Nigeria abroad. A lot of Nigerians live in Nigeria abroad. When you come to Canada, you eat Nigerian food, you go to Nigerian church, all your friends are Nigerians. If that was the case, then you should have just stayed in Nigeria. You should have just stayed in Nigeria. But
You're right, 100%.
so if you are going to change the narrative, if you're going to start a business, you need to begin to change your mindset that you need the Chinese, you need the Indians. Collaboration is important, and we need to stop living in Nigeria abroad. I'm not saying that you can't go to a Nigerian church, but you can't eat your Nigerian food. You must unlearn some certain things, begin to relearn certain things. Be ready to try new stuff. Be ready to test new waters. Look around, look at your environment. What is the value I can provide? What is the value I can provide to this environment? What is the need that is in this environment? And you begin to do what? You begin to niche down. You begin to niche it down to the people's needs. So then you, I mean, like we rightly said, look for people who have done it. If you can't pay a consultant, look for someone who is successful. Someone like a mentor. Look for somebody, and I have a lot of people who my wife has coached, even in with our printing business, who are Nigerians, right? Sorry, who are Nigerians, you understand? And they started their own, little printing stuff. So look for somebody who's walked that path and who is doing fantastic and is willing to teach you. Definitely, you got to register your business. Then you got to consider the finances. You got to consider the finances too, right? What would it take? How much would it cost me to set up this, what I need to set up? For those of us who are always trying to be intellectual, you gotta get a business case. You gotta get a business case, business proposition. Look at what you're doing. What are the necessary departments that you need in that? As an entrepreneur, what are the things that you need your accounting, you need your vendors. So those are little things that can help you along the way. But the most important thing is community. Community. It is very important that you build a community. And when I mean community, as Africans, don't come and say, oh, it has to be a Nigerian. No, it doesn't have to be a Nigerian. When God created man, he didn't create Nigerians, he created man. And so everybody has blood in them. So and that's just it. Build a community. You need everybody, you need everybody's expertise. So, that's
All right.
few things. It's a long journey. And for you to build a unicorn, it's a long journey, right? And I know you mentioned something about businesses that die along the way. I always believe that the reason why businesses die along the way is because mentally they were not prepared for a unicorn. Because for everyone that starts a business and thinks about 100 years from today, from the day you start the business, you begin to train somebody. If it's your son, if it's your daughter, you begin to show them the way. Our current Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, when his father was Prime Minister of Canada, his father used to take him to the office. He will sit in the office, sitting on his father's chair, And I see him doing the same thing now. So, and I told my wife sometimes like something, this guy's son is going to be the Prime Minister of Canada someday, because they're already building him for the position. So if you're building a unicorn, you must begin to pour yourself into somebody. You shouldn't, if you're the only one that knows everything, then when the person dies, it goes to the grave. Say, what's going to happen? Somebody, and you begin to build loyalty is very important. You begin to build loyal people, men and women, along the way. So, those are just few ways you can do it here down here.
All right. Thank you so much for that point of view. That's so powerful. You describe it all. So when you talk about the African, so because my own point, when you talk about the African market, people setting up African store and all that, yeah, it's a great thing. But the thing is, I found out that a lot of Africans or Nigerians, we always, when we want to talk about investment or business abroad, we always talk about African clothing shop or grocery store. That's the two businesses that thrives. And I don't know why. Just like you said they need to network, and they should not limit their market. You understand? They should not limit their market. If I look at what your wife did as a shop, a white man can come, Indian, Chinese,
Definitely.
anybody can come and print. So you are not limiting your market to just one set of people. Anybody can walk in and order. If you are selling perfume, because I know you have a perfume brand, which is great, by the way.
Thank you.
Do you sell African product and want to reach the African market in the United States? Send us an email with your products at contactus@shopafricausa.com. Do you need to shop African products at the ease of your home? Visit our website on shown below, www.shopafricausa.com.
Not only Nigerians that can buy it. A Chinese can buy it, an American can buy it, Japanese, whoever can buy it. So there's no limitation to this market.
No.
All right. So I wanted to ask you a question. Which other market do you think a Nigerian who is abroad can actually invest in or probably venture into? Because sometimes some people, you don't blame them. They don't know where else to go. So as a consultant that you understand how this thing works, which other market do you think they can actually tap into?
So for me in Canada, I would say, in Canada, I'm talking about specifically Canada, manufacturing. And the reason why is because Canada
Sorry, please. Sorry to cut you. I know you said manufacturing. Please, I want you to say if you have this particular capital and number, manufacturing. How about somebody who has like $10,000 to $100,000? Put them into consideration. I would love to hear your view on that too.
So let's start with that. So manufacturing. And the reason why I said manufacturing is because Canada is a very conservative country. So we don't really manufacture. So a lot of companies that are here in Canada are Chinese, American companies and all that. So if you have money, you can start up something here for Canada. There are companies here and there that do it, but it's not like in a large scale. But for people who have like 10,000, 100,000, and I would rather, my advice is to invest. I wouldn't advise that you go start up a company yet. I would ask that you go be a part of a company. Go and invest that money first. Invest. There are so many. There are so many unicorns that you can invest in the money. And that's for people who are coming in fresh. Say if you have 100,000, I wouldn't advise you to just jump into business. I advise you go invest the money. There are a lot of manufacturing companies that you can invest the money into. Be a shareholder somewhere and invest the money. Watch your money grow. Why? Again, you do your visibility studies, and one of the things you need to avoid is the fact that because my friend is selling yam, it does not mean I have to sell yam. Or because my friend opened a grocery store or clothing store, then that's what I'm called to. No, you have to understand what your passion is. You have to understand what you like. At the end of the day, I know the end goal is to make money, but I tell people that when you are doing something, if you get up every morning and what you're doing, you have to second guess it, then there's a problem right there. So you have to do something that you are convinced within your heart that once you get up in the morning, there's joy, there's passion to say, like my wife now, my wife will say, I would say, baby, you need to, me, just stay home. It's Friday, stay home and rest and all that. She'll say, okay, I'll think about it. In the morning, you just see her showering, getting away. I have to go to the store because she's passionate about it. And that's where you find out that a lot of innovative items come out from our printing store. Innovation just keeps coming out and all that because the passion is there. Because she's not saying, Mama Nkechi did it, so I have to do it. Even though business is about making a revenue, making money, solving problems, and making money and giving value. But you must understand that you have to solve the right problem, give the right value also that makes you happy, that brings joy to your heart. So if you have 10,000, 12,000, invest. Collaboration is very key. Look for somebody who, I would say, look for somebody, if you want to do real estate, look for somebody who has a track record in real estate. Bring two, three, four, five guys together. I mean, which is something I even wanted to discuss with you too in Canada. I mean, let's tap into the Canadian market. I have few guys that have been talking to me about it, even from Nigeria, who say, okay, we have about $1 million, and what can we come to do in Canada? I'm not going to tell you to go set up a manufacturing plant. I don't have a manufacturing plant, but I'm heavy on custom homes. I do custom homes, so let's do custom homes and all that. I mean, it's landed, it's landed property. It doesn't expire.
There's
So
a
if you
lot
have
of
this,
housing deficit in Toronto
pardon me,
right now. So I heard. I said there's a lot of housing deficit right now
exactly
in
everywhere,
Toronto.
everywhere. So if you have 10,000 to 100,000, invest, invest it first, invest, and while you study the environment, put the money somewhere, invest it, let it be yielding interest. Once you're done with your visibility, one of the things that is real estate too. Real estate, I mean, the market has been a bit down, and again, like I tell people, you should have been expecting it once COVID was done, when you guys were collecting all this money.
But did you guys collect money in Canada? I think it's the United States only.
Since this is an African whatever, my brother, they collect too.
Eh?
So when you collect all this money, what did you say go happen? The rich guys are going to leverage on that and try to make, and that's how life is. We the rich guys, sorry, I have
Mm,
the power of positive confession.
yeah.
We the rich guys, no, they have to leverage. They will leverage on that. So I was talking to someone, a gentleman today. He just got to Canada. He just came to Canada last October. He has a 1 bedroom in his house, but in a little space, he converted into a barber shop because I went to cut my hair today. So I like that's where community comes in because he
That's why you're
wasn't.
looking sharp.
Thank you, my brother, man. You too, man. So because my wife belongs to a community and he posted in the community. So instead of me, my barber that has been driving, I mean, cutting my hair for over 10 years, driving all the way like almost 1 hour, 30 minutes. I went 7 minutes away from my place. And I told him consistency is key. Coming into Canada, if you it's in Nigeria whereby people who they call them onisha or what, people who are gifted with their hands, they are not really appreciated. They get paid less. But in this part of the world, if you have something doing with your hands, like you're a plumber, you're a mechanic, you are a barber, I mean, even though they will expect you to get
Technical
certifications,
skills, yeah.
you make tons of money. So for people who have, if you're watching this show and you have money to invest and all that, I mean, you can reach out to Honorable, reach out to me. We can do some real estate
True.
stuff together. We can do some big real estate stuff together and invest the money somewhere. And if you have a business idea, invest the money first. If you have a business idea, look at what you need to do. Like we said, you don't have to say because Mama Nkechi is selling rice and gari, then probably because we made that mistake when we first got to Canada. Yeah, so when we came 22 years ago to Canada, all Africans, they were shipping cars to Nigeria. They were shipping cars to Nigeria. So okay, even though we went to school, we're graduates, so, that's the intel. Let's be shipping cars. But I found out that every time I ship a car, by the time the money gets back, I don't really understand what happens to it, right? So I quickly realized that with the help of God and my wife, I quickly realized that maybe That's not my calling. Because at the end of the day, aside from the frustration of clearing and all that, by the time you sold the car, bringing the money back, I mean, it wasn't just right for me. You understand? It wasn't just right for me. So you don't have to necessarily go do what everybody's doing. And you can buy businesses too, but when you are buying a business, make sure that, again, do your visibility studies properly.
Judy.
Make sure the business is not owing, is not in debt, and all that. You can buy business. There are people who want to sell off their businesses here. There's a website here. That my younger sister used to work for a company. What they do is they bring buyers to sellers. So people who want to sell their
Brokers.
businesses, and all that. Yeah, and you can franchise. You can do franchising. I mean, we were talking about, was it Chick-fil-A at the time? And I mean, you pointed something out to me and all that. So, and I didn't know that. And that's part of, because my wife was already talking about getting a Chick-fil-A franchise. And you pointed that out to me. I'm like, oh, really? That's part of doing visibility studies. And that's part of community. When you have the right people in your corner and you're able to say, look, bro, this is what I'm thinking and all that. And you say, no, I mean, this side, So that's just it.
That's so powerful. That's so powerful. And a lot of like just what you said, a lot of Nigerians don't do due diligence, which is very important. And that's one thing. Even I, as an individual, I was speaking to quite a number of people, and I'm like, okay, we can actually even do a lot of education. I'm also trying to work on building a small community of Nigerians, where I'm going to mentor and give them the right coaching on how to navigate the market globally. Whether you're in South Africa or wherever you are, once you understand the concept, just a concept, all right? It's just a concept. Once you understand the concept, it's going to help you a lot. And just like you said, there's a lot of things. Look at what you just talk about, the house deficit in Canada and what you want. This is a major thing that can be sponsored. Even there are some ideas that even you can actually build, you can get financing from. People will just tap into it automatically. Which is a great thing. I actually have an idea that I would also love to share with you. It has to do with something like housing. I think Canada would also be a very good market for that thing. We can discuss more about that. It's almost going to be intertwined. And we can also look for a way to get financing on it. So what I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, is we just don't want to be abroad.
No, we don't.
Being abroad, work for 30 years, or more than for 30 years, maybe 35 years, then collect your 401k. I don't know if it's the same thing in Canada, or maybe there are some countries they don't even have 401k. They don't have anything like 401k. They just have like, you retire and and that's it. And the truth is, at the end of the day, you just don't want to be like that. You want to say, okay, how can I build? All right, just like what they said. He said, even if you have $100,000 and this thing cannot even do the right business for you, you can reach out to Mr. Diwali and say, okay, you talk about a business the other time. Can you also forward me a note on that? Let me take a look. Let me do my due diligence. You do your due diligence. You reach out to him and say, okay, you know what? I want to invest $100,000 on this, your project you are talking about. You understand? So that means you already tap into it.
Of course.
You understand? There are some people, what they live on is investing in businesses. That's what make Elon Musk who he is. When they sold their shares in the paper they sold, he bought X, bought this one. He didn't buy Twitter. Twitter wasn't existing. He invested $55 million on Tesla. You understand? When he sold this, so he is buying. He is not even founding in real sense. If you look at it, most of the times he buys something that already exists. So we need to understand this concept. Thank you for bringing out that word. If you cannot, I think it should be a word on marble that if you cannot do a business with this particular amount you have, you can actually invest that particular amount on people who are doing something. And guess what? You are part of the success. Just like even if you go and buy crypto now, if you buy Bitcoin, just the same way you're buying Bitcoin, if it goes up, you goes up, you go up. If it goes down, so don't say, no, he stole my money. No, you didn't.
So let
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, let me share this. It's very profound. A lot of Africans know or they are not know, when you enter abroad, there's a pathway to wealth. Because at the end of the day, it's all about wealth creation, right? There's a pathway to wealth. I read a book, I know you would have read it too, because you're a great man too. Robert Kawasaki, The Four Quadrants of Wealth Creation. Yeah. So
Exactly.
but one of the mistakes that we always people make is that they think that because you have a 9 to 5, you can't be a millionaire. No. That's a wrong mentality. That's a wrong. I mean, that's a wrong mentality, because the number two man, there are people who work for Microsoft are billionaires that are very rich, that are millionaires. They work 9 to 5, but they're millionaires. So what the four quadrant, so employee, self-employed, investor, business owner, right? So if you look at it very well, every of that four quadrants can easily tap into any of the four quadrants. If you're an employee, right, you can invest. You can be you know how many 9 to 5 guys are millionaires just by investing, just by having good investments. So you can be a 9 to 5, because it's not everybody that is going to be self-employed. It's not everybody that is going to be a business owner, but everybody can be an investor. Honorable, that one is deep. Not everybody can be self-employed. Not everybody can be a business owner, but everybody can be an investor.
You're right. I agree with you 100%. You know, there's a book I actually wrote many years ago. It's called The $1 Investor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like the basic investment anybody can be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, invest. And investment can change overnight. Just imagine, let's even look at Bitcoin. With this what you just said, now let's just do a Bitcoin, for example. Many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, all right? Or maybe 15 years ago, if you had bought Bitcoin worth $40,000, as at then, now you'd be in millions of dollars.
I was telling my wife a few days ago, we used to buy Bitcoin in 2012, 2013, 2014, 15. We used to buy Bitcoin to shop online. We'll go to, there was a machine. We created a code. We'll go put $300 worth of Bitcoin. We'll be shopping. And I said, imagine if we had kept those Bitcoins today. I kid you not, bro. I didn't spend money on buy Bitcoin that time. We bought over $10,000 worth of at that time.
Oh my God.
At that time. So, but it is what it is. Anyways, like I said, there are different vehicles to wealth. And I always tell people every time that no opportunity is lost. The way the universe is created, because while growing up, what we're told was that opportunity comes but once. Once you lose an opportunity, that's a lie. The way the world is designed is that when you miss an opportunity, it goes to wait for you in the future. It goes to wait for you in the future. If not, people are going to always be hungry. If you lose one opportunity, you know how many opportunities I've lost? But new doors keep opening. I mean, meeting you is another opportunity.
New doors.
New
Yeah.
doors keep
Same here.
opening. New doors keep opening. And I realized that, because what happens is, maybe you have a business with somebody, businesses can go south. It doesn't mean anybody's a bad person and all that. And you feel probably that's the end. No. You realize that you meet more people. The most important thing is you learn from it, you adjust yourself, and you move on. And when the next opportunity comes, you make sure that you don't make the same mistake that you made. You understand?
So now, you know, the title of this show is Nigerian Abroad Show, right? And the topic for today talks about, you know, investment home and abroad. So let's quickly go back home a little bit.
Yeah.
For those ones who are listening to these shows, this particular show, who are, you know, they're already entrepreneurs, they already have good businesses. So how can they leverage their international experience to build up business opportunities in Nigeria? How do you think entrepreneurs maybe people who have gotten it right, how can they be able to use the their experience globally and all that to be able to add to the business, the entrepreneurship world in Nigeria?
It's kind of, for me, it's kind of deep. The reason why is because you can start a business in Nigeria and tomorrow government wakes up, makes a policy and wipes it off. So I had to engage the young man and I said, there's no economy that thrives on only the government. Every US, Canada, England, every economy is sustained by entrepreneurs. And that is why you find that, like Canada and the US now, for every smart person, it's a capitalist environment. Canada is a capitalist environment. US is a capitalist environment. Every capitalist environment favors entrepreneurs and business owners. So if you're smart, you jump into business. But for Africa, it's reverses the case. For Africa, the rich want to be rich and just want to oppress the poor. And so yes, the experiences are there. Yes, we might have made tons of dollar. I have my immediate younger brother is actually selling all his properties in Nigeria just to get out of there because of so much frustration and all that. So that's why I say it's a very dicey. If you are, the other day I called one of my mentors and I said, there's this opportunity that is opening up in Nigeria. And he said, hey, these certain people, I don't deal with them, but if you have patience, you can do it. So it's very dicey because it comes with a lot of frustration. And I'm not only talking about frustration from the government policies, even from individual, personal people. I had a friend who shipped cars and accidented cars, they'll fix it. And he's in Canada, he's up by 3 a.m. because of the time difference, and he's calling them in Nigeria. And this particular day, he was calling the panel beater, and the guy didn't pick up. Later in the evening, he picked. The guy said, "I don't get anything where I won't tell you now. I no pick up."
Man, that's crazy.
Because he knows
That's
that you
crazy.
can't jump on the flight. So it's dicey. So if the question is, do you advise? I mean, should I advise people to go set up businesses in Nigeria? I would say yes, but you have to be on ground and you must be able to handle stress. As a diaspora, I have a business in Nigeria I'm partnering with. And the honest truth is, my partner, even though he calls me and he talks about the stress and all that, but he does all the work and he carries all the burden and the stress and all that. I encourage him with strategies and we think and we plan together, and all that. So if you want to invest in Nigeria, number one, you got to be on ground. I mean,
You got to be on ground.
you got to be
True.
on ground, my brother.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it has gotten to a point whereby nobody cares. So I mean, this is for Africans, diaspora investment and all that. We got to be frank and we got to be true. We don't need to polish it or butter it. You understand? I've had investments that I took thousands of dollars back to Nigeria, and right now I'm believing and I'm hoping that it comes. There's a return. You understand? So you got to be on ground because you can't even trust anybody. You can't trust not even family members. Not even family members. So you got to be on ground and you must be able to handle stress. And I think we've had this conversation before. You got to know the kind of businesses that you invest in. If you're going to invest in Nigeria, you must invest in something that you can easily pack your things and get out.
Yes. Yeah. And that's where the concept comes in. And I'm telling you, that's where the concept comes in. The exit strategy thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you are going to Nigeria, you must be ready. If I think I'm going to do a particular episode where I'm going to discuss about what kind of business you should invest in Nigeria. That's very, very important. When it comes to sales business, especially when you're selling, maybe you have a lounge or an hotel, man, and you're abroad, oh my God, may God rest your soul. Because the truth is, they're gonna steal you. It's just gonna run down. You can't. There's no sustainability of that market. But when we're talking about service-based business, that you are like, you there's no way the things goes without you being involved. I'm not saying regular service business, but I have my own reservations on some particular businesses,
Mm.
you know, especially if you're in the diaspora. It's just going to break you down.
Mm.
All right. The car sales business, or you ship cars to Nigeria, I think that model died a long time ago. All right. Apart from even the business itself, look at the country. You know, look at the country. The country custom is going to deal with you. All right. So if you look at it, you are stressing to get a custom, the seller who you want to sell it to, another thing. When I mean the seller, maybe the dealers who you're going to put your car to. You know, the stress that comes with it is enough to break you down. So the kind of business I would advise anybody abroad that want to go into, if you want a passive kind of business, maybe a real estate business, maybe you buy a property and probably, you know, do a shortlet. You know, I have a model on that shortlet where you have cameras and all that, and you get your money in dollars, Airbnb. You know, it works well. All right. So, or probably you are doing a land banking. All right. You are buying the land and you're reselling it later. You know, or probably have even renting. Sometimes it's crazy because some people can owe you for months or years. They might really not pay. You know, they tell you, oh, you can see the economy is bad and all that. So, well, you can still do it. It's passive anyways. But when it comes to active, but I tell people that you can be a billionaire overnight in Nigeria.
Correct. Yep.
Not with corruption. I'm telling you. It's just understanding. The truth is, all you need to do is identify the market.
Yeah.
Once you identify the market, to be honest with you, probably when you identify the market, maybe don't tell anyone yet. Make your enough money.
Monopolize it.
Yes, because just quickly make enough money. Because once the government knows about that market, trust me,
they will mess it up. Yep.
They are coming for the market, then they'll bring all barriers. But like in America, for example, in Canada, for example, they already understand the market. So as you're entering the market, they already you understand. Maybe you want to be a plumber, even as being maybe you want to be a real estate broker in America, for example. You first go to school of real estate, salesperson. You work for an organization for 2 years before you get a license. Once you get a sales, that means a broker. That means you don't have your own. You are just you have your own if it's broker, right? But salesperson, you are just a salesperson, maybe working for a broker. So you have to become a salesperson first, all right, for 2 years. Then after that, the person will now say you've worked with them. You can now use it to apply. You now do exam. You go for classes to be a broker. Then once you are done, you get your paperwork. Now you're a broker. You understand? And they can take your license overnight. So there's a lot of opportunities that has not been tapped in Nigeria. That when you tap it, you are making crazy money. All right? But I now understand the market is not also very stable. So once you understand a place, because I told you, I don't know if I've told you before, there's a time I went to Rwanda, I met,
bike,
yes, bike and all that. Before they have Go-Kada. Where is Go-Kada today? They shut it down. It's now become a delivery brand. So, but what are we trying to say here is, they became a unicorn. They made money. They make crazy money then. All right? So you understand that once you make money, the government is going to look at, oh, so you are making money. All right, where's our share? So maybe you are making that money and you are thinking about exit plan. Maybe you are trying to sell it to Dangote. Dangote is buying your company and you are moving. Let them go and be stressing. Then they tell you, okay, you know what, come and manage the company. You just be a manager of the company, but they already bought the company from you for maybe 1 billion or $3 billion dollars. You already have the company. Now you are just managing. And if you have any stress, go and tell them to go and meet Dangote, but you are just managing. You understand? Do you know Waze? If you know the Waze app, I don't know if you know Waze. Waze came out. They were doing good. Google looked them. We can't really compete with these guys because they have their own unique brand. And they bought Waze. And they said, you know what? We are not firing everybody. Keep running Waze, but it belongs to us. Management. So to cut long story short, you know, I love this show today, and I would love us to have more investment talks and all that, because a lot of people have been asked, they want to listen to this thing, because a lot of people have money and they're like, I don't know what to do abroad. You know, you understand, which is very important. All right. So if you're in Canada, you really want to invest, this is an opportunity.
Mm.
All right. And if you're in Nigeria, you want to japa now, because this show is for people that really want to travel and all that. So if you want to japa, you can always reach out to Mr. Adewale, who would explain to you. That means you have the money to invest. You can always reach out to him. Then, especially business, he will tell you business options. You can actually invest in Canada, within your reach. If you have $100,000, 200, 300, he's the right person to talk to.
Mm.
You understand? So this is an opportunity for you to reach out. Don't sleep on it, because this opportunity might not come. I might not really bring somebody as tough as him again. So this is an opportunity for you to tap into that particular market of investing. You understand? I'm not saying you shouldn't send money to your brother to help you build a house back home. So I'm not telling you not to put, because another thing that mistake people used to make, they are making money abroad. Instead of them investing where they are living in, guess what? They are sending money. There's somebody I know went to go and keep over 100 million naira in Nigeria in his account in 2015. Guess what? The money
is, that's how much now?
100 million naira right now is $100,000 kind of. But back then, that was maybe like $500,000 or more.
Mm-hmm.
That is how your money is just going to be valueless. So if you have this opportunity, it's an opportunity for you now to build and say, okay, right now that I'm in America or I'm in Canada, let me reach out to the right people who can help me invest my money. Not only about my money, they can even mentor me on how to go about it. So it's not even about the money right now. You need a mentor. And Search Plus is the solution.
Yeah.
Search Plus Consulting is 1%. Is the 1%er.
Yep.
It's not for everybody.
It's not.
You can join the 1% club and learn a whole lot of things. So it took me a lot to bring him on this show. So this is an opportunity for you to tap into that grace. And how can they reach out to you?
Well, they can check my website, consulting, searchplus-consulting.com. They can follow me on Instagram at Adewale on.
All right. Yeah, send him a DM. Just like I said, he's ever ready to speak to you. We've been on this show for 1 hour right now. I want to thank you, Mr. Adewale, for
Thank you.
Taking our time to be on this show. And to the viewers and the listeners, thank you guys for staying tuned. Until next one, I'm going to bring somebody great to the next show, and we're going to discuss about student visa itself for those ones that want to take that route to leave the country for a betterment of their life. So till next time, thank you guys, and talk to you guys soon.